everyone. You may have heard the idea of bringing your whole self to the table, but what does that look like on a daily basis? Here to help us tap into our whole authentic selves is Karlyn Percil. You're the perfect person for the job. Perfect person for the job. So how do you show up with your whole self? Because it's difficult in this world that we live in, right?
It is, and often we think about bringing your whole self to work, but what I'd like us to do is to reframe. I want you to think about bringing your whole self with you to work.
Yeah.
And the difference is that, T, you're bringing in all of yourself. You're bringing in the self that wasn't just summer, who had the amazing summer vacation. You're bringing in your values, and to me, it's living your values out loud. And when you bring your whole self with you to work, you're better able to tap into your adaptability, you're able to tap into your patience, and also you know who deserves the whole you at work, because not everyone deserves access to the whole you.
Oh, that is so true. You have to really insulate and make sure that you are preserving your energy for those who deserve your energy, right?
Yes.
Let's talk about a few wellness techniques that we can sort of weave into our lives so that we feel we're showing up wholly all the time.
Yeah, and one of my favorite, when we talk about, living your values out loud, even for me, example, what I'm wearing today is by this Indian designer, Azuri by Manvi. And for me, when I show up with my values, I'm already standing strong and tall.
Yes.
And we forget that the elements are part of us. We're 70–80% water.
Yes.
We forget that the brain receives information through all 5 senses. So when you think about this, you actually start building a great workday from the night before. Because great work days are built from within.
Yeah.
So understanding that, hey, if the brain receives information from all 5 senses, how am I curating my life? How am I curating my day? What am I wearing? What am I listening to? And most importantly, how am I showing up with those elements as part of my day-to-day?
Do you feel comfortable just standing up so we can see
Oh,
the gloriousness that this outfit is? Give us a little turn. Give us a little turn. Yes, yes.
And
because that's a very valid point. It starts at home, and it starts with who am I and how am I presenting myself to the world?
Exactly.
And am I being authentic and true to who I am? So I love that. You say also tap into our senses.
Yes.
So our senses, you can take that with you everywhere you're going. Should we start with hearing?
Yes. So when you think about emotions are tied to our senses. And when it comes to sound actually helps activate different modes or moods, I would say, inside of us. So when you start your day in the morning and you bring in that sound, you tie that sound to an emotion. I want to feel calm. I want to feel refreshed. Or when someone maybe incites me at work, where do I go? I go back to that sound.
Yes.
And I'm not saying not everybody will be able to bring your sample with you at work, but at work, in that 5-minute break, plug in your earphones. Right? That last beach vacation you did, listen to the sound waves. Create an audio file of your entire vacation.
Oh,
right?
that's
And
a good
listen to it.
idea.
Listen to the sound bites, the laughter, the joy in your voice. All of that can be embodied, and it can also help you to be more focused at work as well.
I remember when we were in like southern Italy, and we were in Capo Vaticano, I think it's called, and we're on a boat, and all you're hearing is the little Italian kids. And I listen to the video all the time to hear those voices because there's something so beautiful about them. Just talking to their parents, but it's like it takes me right back. So I think that's a really good tip. You gave me some peppermint right before the segment. I did this, and it's like, ooh, I'm awake. Let's talk a little bit about smell.
So smell is actually tied. It's one of the most powerful senses that's tied to our emotions. And smell is tied to memory. And peppermint actually is my favorite tool to travel with and also to have at work, because when we inhale peppermint, it helps us to refocus. Peppermint brings us back to our vitality. And we forget that our emotions are also tied to our organs. So when you use scent to incite a smell, so for example, if you think of living your values out loud at work, and you say, I want to bring my most aligned self at work. Now, sometimes, things change at home, right? So you're coming into work, you might be a little bit more stressed, you're getting the kids to school and the integration of back to school and so forth. How do you bring the best Tracy to Cityline? How do you ensure that you show up so now you're contributing towards the thriving culture in the workplace? These are the tools that you can use. Inhale, put it in the back of your neck, put the back of your knees, and you can show up in your most aligned self. And the same thing for sight and sound and smell. This guava passion fruit, tell me, doesn't that bring you back to the islands?
Oh, that's delicious.
Aren't you going back to work smiling
I kind
at
of want
everyone?
to eat it.
Right? It smells. And also writing. I say write your values.
Yes.
Write it on a sticky note. Put it somewhere you can see it.
Yeah.
Notebooks with affirmations, do so. And the self-love coloring book for my collection, I always invite folks for lunch. Why don't you do something different?
Yeah.
Start a coloring page together with a friend, and now that becomes a really great connection and joy at work. And the last thing for sight, color.
Right.
Blue actually invokes focus and productivity. Orange brings in creativity. And green brings stability and also creativity. So think about what you wear to work, because that can also add to your thriving at the workplace. And then remember, work is work. Work is not here to make you happy.
Right.
What you bring to work is how you can create the culture and the work life that you want. So show up with your full self so that you can contribute towards the workplace that you want.
That is a very good perspective. So it's what you are bringing to the table, the experience that you want to have. And that's not to say that there's toxicity. There can be awful things happening around you, but really you are your home base.
You are.
In all these scenarios. So
And the
whatever you're
stronger you
bringing, is really, really important. Thank you so much for that, Car. I love it. All right, let's go for break. We got more coming up. Stay with us.